John Wall had a very rough go-around with the Houston Rockets. I mean, he's calling them trash on podcasts now, and he's not really wrong. I mean, they went 17-55. Whenever he was traded there for the Westbrook and Wall swap, he was fully under the impression he was going to be there with James Harden. But James Harden already wanted out, and it wasn't very long until James Harden got his way. After James Harden only played 8 games that year, he would be shipped off to Brooklyn. But something a lot of people do not understand is that John Wall was actually really good as a Houston Rocket, albeit with no fans in the stands. He averaged over 20 points a game and nearly 7 assists, along with a steal and 3.2 rebounds. However, John Wall's great performances were just overshadowed by the misery that was the Houston Rockets. Their glory days of winning 50-plus games every year and having one of the best players in the entire league in James Harden on their roster was over, and it was time to tank and get a #1 pick. In the Houston Rockets' 72 games in the 2020-2021 NBA season, they only played John Wall for 40 of them. They were paying him $44 million to sit on the bench and hope that they lose. They were all about developing young talent, and his massive contract was untradeable. However, although he was 30 years old, he was still playing at an all-star level. He would be benched for the first 2 games of the season, but in his first 2 games back, he would average 25 points, 7.5 assists, and 5 rebounds. However, like I said, the Houston Rockets' glory days were behind them, and they were looking for at least a lottery pick. Therefore, when John Wall would lead the team to a 3-4 record in his games back, they definitely were not happy with that. They would shelve John Wall for 5 games between January 13th and January 23rd. His first game back would be against the Mavericks on January 23rd, 2021, where they would win by 25 points. In the 5 games in his return, he would average 17 points and 6 assists. He would lead into a 5-0 record, and obviously the Houston Rockets were not happy with that, so they would shelve him again for another game. After missing 1 game, that being a 17-point loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, he would come back on February 4th, 2021 against the Grizzlies, and a 12-point victory, he would score 22 points and 8 assists. After having 27 points and 7 assists in a 5-point loss to the San Antonio Spurs, they would put him on the bench against the Charlotte Hornets. They would lose by 25. John Wall would come back against the Pelicans, and they would go on an 11-game losing streak, and this is where he started to become a little bit disgruntled. However, he was performing phenomenal, averaging 24 points and 6 assists, along with having a 32-point game against the Cavaliers and a 36-point game against the Brooklyn Nets. They would still result in losses. He was scoring a little bit too much, and obviously, the Rockets didn't really like that very much, so they would throw him back on the bench for the next 5 games. He would come back and then just start playing worse and worse and worse in this stretch back. In fact, one game he just went 16% from the field in a 10-point loss against the Memphis Grizzlies. He would have 9 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. John Wall would only play 8 games for the remainder of the season, averaging 22 points and 7 assists in that stretch. However, it was over for the Rockets. If their playoff hopes weren't dashed already, they definitely were now. They would bench him for the remainder of the season after Game 60. After 2021, John Wall would sit out for the 2021-2022 NBA season. Everyone tends to hate on John Wall for talking all this trash about his team, about the Houston Rockets, and about his teammates. But to be honest, you can't really blame the dude. He was enthusiastic about going to the Rockets because he thought James Harden would be there. James Harden leaves and leaves him there with only his former Kentucky teammate DeMarcus Cousins. And then DeMarcus Cousins just leaves. But I sympathize with John Wall. I would not want my team to just bench me out of nowhere just so they can lose games, and I agree with a lot of his criticism of the Rockets. It was also nice seeing John Wall being John Wall again, having incredible scoring performances and incredible passing games. And with that, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share. It really helps this video in the algorithm. And with that, I guess I will see you all later. Goodbye.